Hi, friends. Welcome to Happy Healthy Living with Yvonne Douglas. My name is Doug, and today we're going to make my delicious Italian meatballs. But this is kind of like my own recipe, basing it on my mom's Italian meatballs that I did in my Spaghetti and Meatballs 101. This one's a little bit different. These meatballs are a little bit juicier, and I think you're going to love them. So stay tuned. Okay, so we're back and we're going to talk about all the ingredients you're going to need to make our delicious, juicy, yummy Italian meatballs. First of all, you're going to need 1 pound of ground beef. This is 93% lean and 7% fat. And then you're going to need 1 pound of mild Italian sausage. You can use the spicier sausage if you want. I'm just going with the mild. And so those are the two meats you're going to need. You're also going to need a fourth of a cup of Parmesan cheese, Parmesan, and I'm using a fourth of a cup of Parmigiano Reggiano cheese right here. And it looks like this, in case you haven't seen it, but this is basically the Good and Gather brand. Here it's imported from Italy, it says. So any Parmigiano Reggiano cheese brand you can get. I'm using 1 teaspoon of oregano, 1 teaspoon, maybe a little bit more of basil, and then we're using 1.5 tablespoons of Italian parsley. We're going to be using 1 teaspoon of minced garlic. We're going to be using some extra virgin olive oil and a little bit of butter, salt and pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, Italian seasoning, and a little bit of crushed red peppers. And salt and pepper, I think I already said that, plus 2 eggs, and you're going to need breadcrumbs. The breadcrumbs you're going to need, I'm using a half cup of the Italian Progresso breadcrumbs and a half cup of the Panko breadcrumbs. And you're also going to need 3 tablespoons of milk for the meatballs. And I believe that is, oh, onions. Hello, how can you forget the onions? One, this is 1 onion. You can use a white onion or a yellow onion. So 1 onion, diced up really fine. And I believe that is it. So let's start cooking. Okay, so in this pan here, what we want to do, we're going to do first our onion mixture. So I'm heating up the base of that pan. Okay, so this is probably about a half a tablespoon of butter. I'm just using a little bit of butter, just a tiny bit. This is going to be the onion mixture. Now I'm going to add extra virgin olive oil, probably around 2 tablespoons. Going to mix that oil and that butter together. Okay. Now we're going to add our onion. And we're going to cook our onions for about 5 to 7 minutes. Let's check our onions real quick. They're looking good. It's been a couple of minutes, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add all the other ingredients to this. I'm going to add my 1 teaspoon of minced garlic. It's a heaping teaspoon because I love garlic. Give that a nice stir. Now this recipe is a little bit different than the way I make my Italian meatballs and my spaghetti 101. My spaghetti 101, that's exactly how my mom showed me how to make her Italian meatballs. But I discovered making them this way, they're a little bit juicier. Okay, not so dry. Not that the other ones are bad. I love the other ones. I mean, but this is really good. You're gonna love this. All right, we're gonna add our oregano, our basil, our Italian parsley. Give that a nice mix. So I'm adding my Parmesan cheese. This is the regular Parmesan cheese, finely grated. Smells so good. Then I'm going to add my Parmigiano Reggiano cheese. Give that a nice little toss. The cheese is going to melt into that onion mixture. Now we are going to turn off the heat and let this cool before we add it to our meat mixture. Okay, so I'm just going to stir this a little bit more. Perfect. Look at that. I'm going to turn off the heat now and let that cool. Okay, so I have my oven preheating to 400 degrees, and we are going to be baking these meatballs. Now, in this baking dish, I put just a little bit of tomato sauce. I first sprayed it with some cooking spray, just a little bit, and then I added some tomato sauce to the base, just a little bit. And what we're going to do now is we have our breadcrumbs. Now, this is the mixture of the Italian breadcrumbs and the panko. And I use both, okay? And I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of milk to that. So there's 1, 2, and 3. And that's going to make it really nice and juicy. Getting a little fork, just kind of mixing that together. Doesn't have to be perfect, just a little mix here and there. I'm going to get my beef, my meat. All right. So this is my Italian sausage. You can use also pork with this ground pork, which would go really, really well. But I'm just using the Italian sausage with the beef today. And then the beef. Now make sure when you're cooking, you always wash your hands. Make sure your hands are always clean. And what I'm doing right now is I'm just kind of mixing the two together a little bit with my hands here. Okay. Excellent. Okay, so I got my beef there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my 2 eggs. 1, 2. And I'm just going to mix that in with my hands. It's the way my mom showed me. And like I said, it's okay. Just, you can use a wooden spoon or something like that, but I just love using my hands because you can really get in there and make sure it's nicely mixed. Okay, now I'm going to add my breadcrumb mixture. Giving that a nice mix too. I'm going to add my 1 teaspoon of garlic. Basically what I do is just cover the top, and then the onion powder. Same thing, just cover the top, just about a teaspoon. About a teaspoon of ground black pepper. A little sprinkle of the crushed red pepper. A little bit, probably about a teaspoon of the Italian seasoning. And a little bit of salt, probably about a teaspoon. And then we're going to add that mix of the onion. And give that a good stir. You can also use your hands again, but when I add that onion, I usually just use a wooden spoon. These, you're going to love these. Oh, by the way, we are going to first kind of like sear them in some olive oil before we add them to the baking sheet. So probably about a minute or so. They're going to be in the oil on a high flame. And once we make the meatballs, of course, and then we're going to put it in the oven. And we'll bake it at 400 degrees for around 25 minutes or so, maybe about 30. We always want to check the inside of the meat with a thermometer, cooking thermometer. Okay, that looks good. All right, perfect. All right, so now I'm going to start making my meatballs. Stay tuned. Okay, so I got my 2 baking dishes ready. The reason why is I have a lot of meatballs here, so that's why I'm using actually 1.5. And let me show you the size of the meatball. So basically you want to take about that much, and then you're just going to twirl it around in your hands like this, and you want your meatball to be probably about that size or so. Some people like to make theirs a little bit smaller, a little bit larger. It's up to you. All right, so this is my last one, and I'm heating up my oil. You want to heat up your oil on a high flame, and we're going to sear these first, so about a minute, and then we're going to put them in our pan, put a little sauce on it, a little bit more cheese, and then we're going to bake it for around 25 to 30 minutes at 400 degrees. So stay tuned. Okay, so we're going to start putting our meatballs in here. Remember, we want it to be hot, and we're going to leave them in here for about a minute on each side, and then we're going to put them in the baking dish. Okay, so it's been about a minute, and I'm flipping them now. You can see how they're getting brown on that side, and that's exactly what you want. It's like we're just kind of like searing them in the hot oil before we put them in the oven. So now that I flipped them, I'm going to let them cook about 1 minute on this side, and then I'm going to put them in the baking dish. Perfect. Okay, so it's been about a minute. I'm going to take them out now. We are going to be putting these, like I said, in that baking dish. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put them in our baking dish. Probably do 3 in a row. Now what we want to do is just add a little bit of sauce to the top. You don't want to cover it. You just want to add a little bit of the sauce. So here's my cheese. I'm just going to sprinkle the top like this. All right. So now let's put it in the oven. The oven is preheated. We're going to let this bake for around 25 minutes, maybe 30. We're going to check on it with using a thermometer. Okay, so here they are. They are done. And I checked with the thermometer. They're at 158, which I think is going to be perfect. So I'm so excited. I made some rotini pasta, and we're going to eat some pasta with this and taste the meatballs. So stay tuned. Okay, so here it is. I'm just going to sprinkle just a little bit of Parmesan cheese on top just to make it look pretty. Oh, they look and smell so great. I'm going to taste one right here. Oh, yum. Perfect. Mmm. Mmm. It's so moist, juicy. Mmm. Mmm. So good. Wow. Now, my mom's meatballs were really good too, and I still love them. But these, I think, are a little bit better. Mmm. Mmm. Super moist. Yum. Thank you so much for joining us today on Happy Healthy Living with Yvonne Douglas. Remember, if you want that homey vibe, you need to subscribe. And please give this video a like. Until next time, my friends, happy healthy living. Bye-bye. And have some more meatballs.